Howdy, howdy, folks. Welcome to another edition of Sticks-n-Stones. I'm your host, Brent Elrod. Got a great show lined up today. I think you're really going to love this pairing. I'm going to try and keep talking while I try to get myself pulled up here on live stream. That's not it. It's always a problem every week because I can't pull it up on the other phone until I actually go live. And then I have to sit here and come up with things to say while I am waiting for it to come up. So that actually looks like it. I think this is about the smoothest it's gone so far. So, hey, anyway, back to why we're here. Oh, got football on the TV. Today is the first day of college football with whatever the Irish Bowl or whatever it is over in Ireland with Kansas State and Iowa State. Wasn't really a whole lot of a game. So I'm on to the NFL. But anyway, really? Had to do that? There may be all kinds of disruptions. There's folks laying out tanning here at the No Shoes Bar and Grill. I got doggies running around. You just don't know what's going to happen. So it's a circus. And unfortunately, it is my circus and it is my monkeys. So, however, I have an absolutely wonderful pairing that's going to make it all better. So we're going to dive right on in. I am pairing Old Granddad 114 with a New World by AJ Fernandez. This is the Gordo 6x56. So this is my first New World. I keep seeing people smoking them. They're talking about how great they are and all that kind of stuff. And I finally managed to happen upon a 5-pack. And I'm like, all right, that's mine. I'll take it. So when it comes to, like crafting a memorable evening, there are a few combinations that rival the interplay of a robust bourbon like Granddad 114 and a fine cigar, New World, AJ Fernandez. And today we're going to be diving into that duo. And this is, this has it's kind of, you don't really have like, you have the, say Rocky Patel, you have the vintage 1990 and the vintage 1992 and that kind of stuff. It's a little bit more, there's a little bit more work to it than this. This is just called the New World. But this is the one with the Oscuro leaf. I think that this pairing is going to deliver an amount of intensity and depth that, and will also add a little bit of rustic charm. That'll really make this a special pairing. And I think the high proof bourbon and this kind of medium to full bodied cigar is really going to create a really great sensory experience that's both bold yet balanced and perfect for the upcoming fall weather. Like next weekend it's going to be nearly 100 today, but next weekend it's going to be like 82. I always say that in Texas, they just flip the switch. There isn't any kind of coasting into one season out of another. Oh no. One day it's 100 and one day it's 80. And and then one day it's 80 and then the next day it's, then all of a sudden you turn around and it's 30 and snowing. This is the way it is in Texas. It's a great place. But yeah, you got this little fire pit outside. It's nice and cool. Dog over there rolling around like an idiot. Sit out there, smoke a cigar, have a little bourbon, get the fire pit going, just staring at the flames. That's some great stuff. All right. Granddad Old 14. This is a high-rye Kentucky straight bourbon from Jim Beam, which, as we all know, is a powerhouse. And it's one of the powerhouses in the Kentucky bourbon industry. It is 57% alcohol by volume. So it's 114 proof, hence the 114. The mash bill is 63% corn, so it should have a nice level of sweet to it. It just has to be 51% to be considered bourbon. 27% rye, so it's going to have quite a bit of spice to it, and then 10% malted barley. Let's go ahead and glass some of this up. That was a really good cork pop. I love that. That is awesome. Yeah, need to be gentle with that. That's heavy proof. Got to be gentle. Now, you can see it is just a beautiful spirit in the glass. It's got some good legs to it. Maybe just a little thin, maybe, but it is just a really beautiful, like light copper color. Just a wonderful, wonderful looking spirit. So let's go ahead and test the nose out. As you can imagine, at 114 proof, it is there is some ethanol in the nose. But when you fight through that, you get hints of like butterscotch, caramel, laced with a little bit of cinnamony spice in there. Then you get some rye spice. There's also maybe just a subtle kind of smokiness. That's kind of maybe rounded out with some hints of sweetness, sort of like Tootsie Rolls or something like that. And then there's also a little bit of oak and a little bit of leather in there. That's a really good smelling spirit. It is. Got a lot of ethanol in it, though. Now, on the palate. That does hit you with a lot of burn right immediately as soon as it touches your tongue. It is like a spicy and almost kind of nutty explosion with some really rye-driven notes of cinnamon, maybe a little ginger in there. There's some caramel, something along the lines of like, a cherry Coke. That gives it a little bit of a darker sweetness. And then there's also a little bit of charred oak and maybe some dark chocolate down underneath, just to give it a really good depth. That is a really good spirit. It has a really, really surprisingly smooth mouthfeel for its proof, with a warm, kind of tingling heat that just invites you to sip it slow. That is definitely the words of the day. Sip it slow. Yeah, you don't want to be cranking back shots of that. No, that'll make you drive your car into a house. We used to say that about Mad Dog. Well, it's not really Mad Dog. I can't remember what it stands for. We always call it Mad Dog 2020. It's basically a cheap ass wine. Oh yeah, but it was like rock gut wine. They still sell it. You can still buy it. Just convenience stores. I don't even know if you can get it at a package store or not. But they sell it at the convenience stores. Anyway, all right. The finish. The finish is really long. I'm still tasting it. It's lively. There's some lingering baking spices, a little bit of kind of sweet oakiness, and then a touch of molasses for really kind of that dark sweetness on the backside, kind of like with the dark chocolate when on just regular palate. The rye spice does kind of fade away, and you get this really nice, pleasant like warmth that the bourbon commands attention, but without being like overwhelming. So this bourbon's like high proof and bold flavors make it a really versatile mixer, but its complexity really shines when it's sipped neat, maybe just with a splash of water in it. I typically don't do water stuff while I'm doing this, but it would go especially well alongside a really good cigar, but a cigar that has got to be just as robust as it is to not get overwhelmed. and I believe that will be the New World by J. Fernandez Oscuro. This is a medium to full-bodied, maybe leaning more towards the full-bodied cigar. It has a very dark wrapper that kind of feels like paper bags, the old grocery sacks or something like that. Visually, as I said, it's dark. It's maybe have a little bit of oil sheen to it, just a little bit. That kind of it really kind of hints at the intensity that you're about to get from this thing. But it is very well constructed. It's a very well constructed cigar. Moderate veining, but the veinings are not especially pronounced. So it's some really great leaf on the wrapper. The seams are tight and almost invisible. It has a really nice double cap to it on the nose. I get some really nice hints of leather. Some cedar. A touch of like grass or hay. There go the puppies. And a little bit of spiciness. So let's go ahead and give it a cut and see what the cold draw offers. Very, very open draw. We'll see if it's more open than I particularly prefer, but it does have a very easy draw to it. And that can be indicative of a cigar that, you could end up smoking a little too fast because the draw is so easy. I get like dried fruit, like raisins or prunes or plums, kind of the darker fruit. Sorry, it's kind of warm out here in Texas today. It's supposed to be nearly 100. It's already probably into the low 90s. I get some really nice like notes of saddle leather. Maybe some hints of a nice fresh earth. So far, so good. Let's go ahead and light it up. That's pretty nice. Just give me a minute and I'll tell you about it. The flavor profile is cedar and black pepper up front, followed by some cocoa, maybe some little hints of espresso in there, and a really nice kind of subtle molassesy, darker sweetness. A lot of pepper on the retro, with some hints of earth and leather. And there's a really nice kind of creamy texture that kind of stays with you on the palate that you typically find more in the lighter colored wrappers, more of the Connecticut kind of light tan wrappers. That's where you usually get more of the creamy notes, but this one has some really nice hanging on creaminess to it. As you can probably tell, a great volume of smoke coming off of this thing. All right, let's try them together. Wow. I would say that, yeah, the 114, the New World is able to keep up with it, and vice versa. Doesn't mean anything. I just love doing it. To me, it kind of, I say this all the time, but I, don't know who's new and who's not. But I feel like if I'm going to tell you everything that I need to tell you, I need to do it when there's as much intermingling of the two offerings as possible. So I wait, blow the smoke in the glass as I'm taking a sip, so that all those flavors just kind of come together all at one time as quickly as possible. And it works for me, but doesn't mean anything. I just think it looks cool, but I do believe that this duet does really go together. I kind of use some Rafael Nodal stuff. It goes together like a really fine orchestra. Both performers are shining without stepping on each other's toes, and the bourbons, like really high rye spice and butterscotch sweetness, amplify the more earthy, peppery notes of the cigar that just really create a harmonious balance. Didn't know I could do all that, did you? I am educated, so. That's some really good stuff. I mean, I really have to say, that is some good stuff. I say kind of the cinnamon and the rye spice kind of wake your palate up and prepares it for the cigar's kind of bold opening of cedar and black pepper. And then you've got the bourbon's kind of caramely, cherry cola notes that enhance the Oscuro's molasses sweetness. It creates a really good transition between the sip and the puff. That's what you're looking for. Oh, yeah. This is a good one. Doing well. Doing well. I never really tinkered around much with AJ Fernandez, but I keep seeing more and more of it, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta take a ride on that train. So far, so good. And as I mentioned when I was testing out the cold draw, it's a very, very easy draw. That means it's very easy to over puff, which might tend to make some folks a little queasy. I V-cut this one. I will probably, on the remaining ones I have, will probably punch cut it, which will kind of narrows down that hole. So you're drawing in, you're not able to draw in as much smoke. Because, hey, it can happen to the best of us. You're not really paying attention to what you're doing, and you end up overdrawing. And then all of a sudden, your gills are starting to turn green, and you're like, oh, what did I do? So, short puffs. Seconds between puffs, not like 3 or 4, like maybe 15 or 20. You tend the cigar. You don't have sex with it. Is what she said. And that old granddad is a very affordable bottle, even by, today's standards. But the prices of the more premier, what used to be the premier price points of, like especially the stuff from coming from Buffalo Trace with the Weller and E.H. Taylor and Blanton's and all that. Seen the prices come down. I saw a bottle of E.H. Taylor small batch on a website the other day for $130, and I'm like, I bought it for $65 2 weeks ago. Why would I want to pay $135 for it? The prices of bourbon is coming down. Everything else may be going up, but hey, if you drink enough bourbon, you're not worried about it. FanDuel commercial, that reminds me, I need to go out to my Yahoo Fantasy Sports and get signed up for my fantasy football team. Yeah, definitely sip slow, puff slow. Need a little something to wash it down. Now this is a pretty good burning stick. It's not, like razor straight, but it also doesn't have any massive dips or peaks in it. So I think it's going to be okay. And my lighting may have, caused some problems. Damn. I don't like the NFL's new kickoff thing, where you got the kicker back there by himself, and both the lineups on the special teams are like 20 yards apart or something like that. I don't like that. Go back to the old way. And they're making it so computerized that it's taking all the fun out of the game, Yeah, everybody got away with getting a first down when it maybe didn't actually make it. But now then they're out there, they're triangulating. And they're like, oh, yeah, they missed it by that much. Really? Are you sure? I think at some point as he was falling forward, the ball probably did go over, But that's just the way it all was. And Joe Flacco, I'm watching, the hell am I watching? Oh, the Rams and the Browns. And I see that Shakur is not starting. Well, I mean, he's a good athlete. He is. He really is. But you can't act the way he did during the pre-draft stuff and expect that you're gonna get drafted high. I mean, some of those antics are ridiculous. Kind of like Micah Parsons is right now with Dallas. Yesterday at the game yesterday, of course, he wasn't dressed because he's holding out, and he's down on the sidelines, and he is laid out on the training table like taking a nap. I did say this in one post about, I was talking about that, and I was like, I hate to bring like Joe Flacco's, I mean, not Joe Flacco, that's who's on the screen right now. I hate to bring Colin Kaepernick's name up, but he is a example of when your antics outweigh your talent. A lot of people were like, oh, he got blackballed because he was black. 70% of the players are black. Doesn't have anything to do with whether he's white or black. The way I said it was, he can't spit this out exactly right. He did something at his place of employment, in his company uniform, on company time, and it pissed off at least 50% of the company's customers. Now, if this were you at your job, what would happen to you after you did it like 5 or 6 times and they kept telling you, don't do that? Don't do that. They let him go. His contract was up. No, we're not signing you again. And he had created such a brouhaha that none of the other teams wanted him either. Why? Because his antics was outweighing his talent. If he had played the game, took a shower, put on his Gucci shoes or whatever it is, and went and got in his Bentley and drove down to the courthouse and marched around with a sign, they wouldn't have said a thing about it. Why? Because he's allowed to do that. But when you come into your place of employment, you have to do what the boss tells you. All the rest of us do. That simple. So it didn't hurt that he'd only had like one good season, and he was starting to stay hurt quite a bit. So, you know, but if Shakur will buckle down and play and not worry about antics, he'll be fine. And, you know, Joe Flacco has been a fairly successful quarterback, but he's been around a long time. If Shakur was listening to this right now, which he's not because they just showed him on the screen, just download all of the wisdom that a veteran that's been around as long as Flacco has, download all of that information and process it and use what is applicable, right? Because he's got a lot of knowledge. So, and with your talent, you can probably do a lot better than he did. But don't be one of those guys always getting in trouble, always blaming, the team's not paying me enough money, all this kind of stuff. You signed the deal. Yeah, you would have had a whole lot of guaranteed money if you just hadn't had all the antics that you had at the pre-draft stuff. Showing up for interviews, not prepared, hadn't looked at the playbook, kind of flippant with answers, kind of just, not taking it seriously. You were interviewing for a job. They could have hired you first, or they could have hired you down in the 7th round, wherever it was he ended up, 5th round. You did it to yourself. There's nobody you can blame but you. And they may have thought that his talent wasn't worthy of 1st round, but he definitely could have gotten up in like 2nd or 3rd and gotten a whole lot more money than he got in the 5th round. You can only control you. And if you do everything that you can do to do it right, it should work out for you. That is a very, very easy drawing cigar. I'm having to really be conscious about not puffing on it too much. But it's a great cigar. It's a great cigar. I love it. And the old granddad. To be not a premium like bourbon that you're going to pay, up close to $100 for, it's a really good spirit. I can't remember what I paid for that. Maybe somewhere around $50. I got a lot of whiskey. I can't keep up with all of it, especially if I bought it a little while ago. So I do have some 1792 and some early times that I haven't broken the seal on yet. And I got both those together for less than $100. I've heard a lot about, I haven't ever tried early times. I've heard a lot about it, and it's a very budget friendly bourbon. So I'm kind of excited to give it a try. So, well, New Orleans is doing about as good as you'd expect. They were good with Sean Payton and Drew Brees, but now we're kind of back to the ain'ts. Yeah, I live in Dallas. I follow the Cowboys. I like the Cowboys. I'm not one of them boys. But if you live in Dallas, that's what you hear. Now, I am a fan of the Rangers, the Mavericks, and the Stars. I watch and I enjoy, watching the Cowboys. I just enjoy watching football. I'm really a Saints fan at heart. I've lived for 20 years in Memphis, and we never had a football team, so you had to be a fan of somebody else. And I would not support the Titans. I wouldn't do it, because when I was in Memphis, when they moved from Houston and went from being the Oilers to the Titans, they were supposed to play 2 years in Memphis while they were preparing a stadium in Nashville. And they got every single bit of revenue on the entire property, merchandise, food, tickets, all of that, except for 10% of the parking revenue. It was so bad, and the crowds were so bad at the end of the first year, they're like, okay, we'll just play in Vanderbilt Stadium for the next year. And they moved on up to Nashville. Yeah, they'd have like maybe 10,000 people show up for a game, and most of them had the opposing team's jersey on. I went to watch them play the Saints, and I was wearing my Saints jersey. Hey, they're going to put Gabriel in? Yeah, kind of interesting to see what he'll do. I need to wash my mouth out. Actually, it's really hot, and you know, you're drinking the bourbon neat. You need a little something cool every once in a while because it's hot out here. It hasn't been terrible though this summer. We've only had a few over 100 days. We're getting close to the halfway mark. I've been keeping tabs on what's going on, but y'all saw that. I think I was hoping it was going to hold on a little longer. I got it all the way down to my socks. Good Lord. I need a bloopers video. Goodness gracious. All right. Sorry. I watch these people and they'll have it all the way down to like here. And I'm like, I can't do it. I don't know. I guess I shake too much. It's like my grandmother. She went to the doctor one time, and he said, you know, she went because she was shaking a lot. And he asked her, he said, well, do you drink a lot of coffee? And she said, no, I spill most of it. I can't take credit for that. That's not mine. More ash. You got everywhere. I think y'all can tell this thing is still putting off a tremendous amount of smoke. Oh, I was going to kind of go back through what we've had so far. The cinnamon and the rye spice that is in the Old Granddad really like prepares your palate for the cedar and the pepper in the cigar. Oh, still brushing ash off of me. And the kind of mix of caramel and cherry coke kind of notes enhance the Oscuro wrapper's molasses kind of sweetness. It's a really great transition from one to the other. They really work well together. You just have to ensure that you are sipping slowly, little sips, and you are puffing gently. I'll see as I smoke more of these, whether or not that's kind of something inherent to the stick or if it's just this cigar. When you're talking about something like that, it could be just that cigar and the way it was rolled that day. That is one of the great things about the premium cigar industry, is because everything, it's not machine made, it's all done by hand. Somebody rolled this cigar by hand. They reached up and grabbed an Oscuro wrapper, and then they reached over and they grabbed a certain number of leaves, and then they put them all together and they rolled them in the binder, and then they rolled them in the wrapper and they cut it. They did all of it by hand. That is what makes premium cigars so great. Otherwise, you could just go buy some Swisher Sweets at the convenience store, you know. Oh yeah, Gabriel is out there. All right, I'd like to see him throw a touchdown. Yeah. Nice little out pass. It's got to, you know, we got to ease him into it. Kind of here at the we're about the halfway mark here. And kind of here at the half, the cigar has kind of developed that cocoa and espresso flavor that was on the palate, and the bourbon's kind of dark chocolate and charred oak are really kind of aligning perfectly. The cigar's kind of creamy textures soften the heat of the 114 proof in the bourbon, and it makes each sip kind of feel a little smoother and kind of more integrated into the entire process. I think if you put like a splash of water in the bourbon, you'll find it opens up even more, and there could be some more like fruitier notes in it. Maybe something along dark fruit like plums or something like that. I could see that coming out. And it would really go beautifully with the kind of nutty cocoa espresso midpoint in this cigar. That's a whole lot to get in. You're like, how do you do that? A lot of years. And I do my homework. I'm prepared. I think I got these this 5-pack off Cigar Bid. And I did really well. I can't remember exactly what I paid, but I know I did really well. And I also bought a box of Drury Estate Undercrown Shade. I like those. The Undercrowns are great. Oh man, Gabriel is he's just tearing it up. Got a minute left in the second quarter. He's going to try and get a touchdown out of this. He's got plenty of time. Oh, got another one. First down. Go ahead, Haven. You can talk. It's all right. When we turn the camera around, let you be on the.
No, I'm good.
This is my youngest right here. That's Haven. There's people watching.
Yeah, you're filming?
Yep.
Okay. I think that lady's coming over.
Okay.
See the dog.
Okay. Good.
I'll just give you a heads up.
This is Brandon here in the background. Well, normally it's mowers. You know, we got people mowing across the fence and stuff like that. But as you can see, it's a train station around here. I'm tapping that off. I'm tapping that ash before it falls in my lap. I saw this little short on X the other day. People were in a gym, and there were like 3 or 4 people standing around talking, and there were 2 ladies, and one of them, she like backs up, and she knows there's a bench behind her, and she goes to sit down on it. Well, there's a dude laying down trying to do bench press. She literally sat right on his face. Visions of Revenge of the Nerds went through my head. Oh, Hap High. Stuff like that. Yeah, I couldn't help it. I was dying. Another completed pass, another first down, 36 seconds left. They're going to be able to get some points out of this. I'm not really a Browns fan. I know one of my buddies here on X is, though. I believe it's Dave Maggs. He's a Browns fan, but he's been camped out up in like Maine somewhere. And I'm like, dude, you live in the life. He's on a lake. He's like smoking cigars every day, multiple cigars. Dude, you are killing it. Need to hop on here sometime. Talk to me. I need to hop on your show and talk to you sometime too. So, turnabout's fair play. And now that she's turned the DJ off, I can turn the volume down just a little bit. Hopefully y'all weren't hearing too much of all that stuff going on. I'll get like copyright infringements or whatever. Like, I'm just smoking cigars and drinking bourbon. I'm not trying to do anything else. One thing I will tell you, as you're drinking the Grandad 114 proof, it will make some parts of your mouth a little tingly, a little numb. I cannot remember what bourbon I had. A friend of mine, he lived next door to us, and he had this bourbon. I want to say it may have been one of the Bookers. But he had like a regular double old-fashioned kind of glass. And he literally, there wasn't hardly even enough in the bottom of that glass so you could like draw a line to where how high it came in the glass. He just like splashed it in there. And I took that sip. It was maybe a half ounce. I popped it back and swallowed it, and the end of my tongue was numb. This thing was like 128 or 129 proof. Whew. That's heavy. Now, I have done some shots of 151 Bacardi. That's just in the last few years. That wasn't like back in college. It happens. These are still going like perfectly together. I know that's what y'all are here for, not to listen to me rambling. The rye spice from that 35. Hang on, let me go back and look at my notes again. See, I have to have all this stuff or I forget it because my memory is terrible. 27% rye. I knew it was right around 30, but I thought it was north of 30. 27% rye makes for a very spicy sip. And then you're adding the 114 proof into that. And that gives it some kick too. But if you sip it slowly, it is a very good sipper. It really is. I wouldn't, I don't know that I would mix it. I mean, that's a pretty high proof for a mixer. If you're gonna mix it, you might as well just be drinking it straight if it's 114 proof. My mixers are always something like I'll use Jack Daniels, just old number 7, something along those lines. I don't wear Maker's Mark, the regular just base Maker's Mark. I don't try to use. I mean, if you're mixing, just like bourbon and Coke. Now, for like my margaritas, I don't use Cointreau. I always use Grand Marnier. It's margarita. You want to use the best. Even though, I mean, Grand Marnier in and of itself is not inexpensive, but it's a lot better than, like triple sec or, Cointreau. Not that they're bad. I always have to, he threw a touchdown. Yep. You go, big guy. Throw you a touchdown. That'll move you up on the depth chart. People were making jokes and stuff about him. I guess they were, like Secure, whatever his name is, Sanders. They're like some of his culties, and I'm like, I don't know. You watch this Gabriel guy. He may surprise you. He had 1 minute and 30 seconds, and he drove down the field and scored just like he was a seasoned quarterback. And then his kicker missed a field goal. Jeez. It looks like we're going to go over 45 today, but we're doing good. I'll try to just cut it off here before we get to an hour. I know y'all got stuff to do on a Saturday, but I'm happy to see that people are watching. It's great. I love it. I didn't send my normal, like right before I did it, like, hey, I'm about to go live. I did that like an hour before I started. So my numbers are a little down today over last week, but I've been very encouraged. Getting a little traction. Share it. Share it on your timeline. Like, yeah, you need to listen to the dude. He's hilarious. Or he's a dumbass. Whatever gets people watching. I don't care. And I love it when you make comments, even if it is, you're a dumbass. I don't care. You were watching, weren't you? I just can't believe Joe Flacco's still playing. But Aaron Rodgers is still playing too. I worry about Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I like him. I really like, I liked it when he was in, when he was in Green Bay. The stuff with the Jets, it just didn't go well at all. But I hope he has a good season in Pittsburgh. I don't want him to be one of these guys that just he overplays his entire body of work with his last couple of years, where he just wouldn't let it go. I mean, you see what happened with Tom Brady. Tom lost his entire life, basically, his wife and his kids, just because he wanted to play one more year with Tampa Bay. I mean, dude, you got the male model looks. You could be a announcer or an analyst or whatever. You could definitely go into coaching. I mean, I think he'd be a great quarterback coach. All those things you could have done, but you flushed your family life down the toilet to play one more year. Now you could say, well, you don't know. There may have been, stuff going on before that, but I know just from what got out that Giselle did not want him playing that year. And when he said, nope, I'm going to play, she's like, all right, fine, I'm leaving. And she went to like Costa Rica. He took the kids and went on vacation. I know we got a little bit left, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of start, wrapping it up, because I know y'all got stuff to do on Saturday. Browns may be pretty good this year. Here at the last half, the kind of cigars lingering, leather and roasted nuts kind of dovetailed with the sweet oak and the molasses finish in the bourbon. That combination really kind of left it left a really warm and satisfying aftertaste. And the bourbon spice was very complementary to the earthiness in the cigar. I think this pairing it's really ideal for kind of like a very, slow, contemplative evening. Especially, it's about to start cooling down. You set out in the backyard, fire pit going. You got a little New World Oscuro wrapper, and you got some Granddad 114, and you're just contemplating the universe. We're about to start heading out into the universe. Elon Musk is he's going to leapfrog us to Mars here pretty quick. He has turned shooting rockets into space habitual. They're sending off rockets every single week, and he lands the boosters and reuses them again. NASA could never do that. They did okay with the space shuttle things, but still, they had like two major disasters, and Elon hadn't had any. I work for Big Brother. I don't talk about it, but the free market, the capitalists, they're the ones that can make stuff like that happen. They are. I got sidetracked. Overall, I think this pairing is great for somebody that is really looking for bold, unapologetic flavors. The bourbon's spicy high-rye profile and cigars kind of rich, earthy complexity. They just create a pairing that's, really greater than the sum of its parts. Excuse me. you know, I don't know that I would recommend this for curious newcomers, because this is a heavy proof spirit and a very bold, full flavored cigar. I would say mid to experienced enthusiasts, aficionados, definitely enjoy this pairing. And newcomers, this pairing would be something you want to ascribe to. You're going to start with the training wheels, and this is where you want to get to something that's just bold and flavorful and kind of like slaps you, you know. It is a great pairing indulgence for a nice evening at home. Overall, I would give it I'll say 88 out of 100. Only down into the 80s because it is so bold. The flavors are excellent. But this is not one of those, like my best pairing ever was a Rocky Patel 60, the word, not the numbers, and the Dalmore 12-year-old Scotch. And those were both easy puffing, easy sipping pairings that almost anybody could have approached, where this is a little bit more advanced. This one is, but it is affordable, and it will be unforgettable, that's for sure. I hope you'd enjoyed this episode as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. Please hit like, subscribe, share, notify, ring all the bells, do all the whistles, all that kind of stuff. Share the shiznit out of it. Share it like crazy. That's how I grow. I love it when I'm seeing, dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen people watching. That means that I'm doing something right, especially when you get near the end. It's one thing if you're 10 minutes in and you got 36 people, but if you only have 5 left when it's over, people didn't stay watching. So I'm glad I'm bringing something that's enjoyable and entertaining. Be sure, I mostly work on X, and you can get to my Printify store there. I've got some really great t-shirts. I got some with the show's logo on it. I've got one that is like my bestseller. That is the Here Am I, Send Me. And it's got the desert camo soldier on the back with his M4 and the Isaiah 6:8 Bible verse on it. On the front, it's got a full color American flag and then just Sticks-n-Stonez, the letters. And I think you'd love it. And on my Printify store, I even have it in a really beautiful pink and light purple for the ladies. I didn't ostracize you. I didn't have something that you couldn't wear. Pink and kind of a dusty purple. I think they'd be perfect for the women, whether you are a vet or you are just a patriotic American. Go out to the Printify store. The link is in the bio at X, and then I post the shirt almost on a daily basis. But like I said, it's been my bestseller, so I just share the out of it, Until we get to be together again, keep your sticks dry, your stones cold. Have a great day.